Radio Network.
The Ed Tyll Show.
The Ed Tyll Show. Ed Tyll.
But Ed, you're not listening to me.
Hillary, please. You got to keep showing up uninvited. This has got to stop. You can't keep showing up places thinking people want to talk to you. We're tired of it. There's got to be a vacation someplace. Just go. Trust me. It's going to be okay. Leave the country for about a year. Think about it, All right, Spunk Burke is back on the show today. Spunk Burke is one of the wisest of the wise men. Why? Because for all these years, he's watched a transition in the professional world from people having big offices in expensive office buildings to becoming consultants and vendors of their really important skill, making money independent of the company itself, independent contracting. He calls it the gig era. We're in the era of the gig. Gigs paying big bucks. All right, how do you get yours? You got to be listening at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Spunk Burke will show you how to get your piece of the pie. Coming up at 3:30, Stacey Hunky is going to join us. She's hunky. Usually something to say about a guy, but Stacey Hunky is on the show. Business leaders sabotaging themselves. They don't even know it. How do you avoid this trap? If you're a business owner, they go, are you a good leader? Are you a good leader? Well, we'll find out. How to become a more powerful leader with Stacey Hunky coming up on the show at 3:30.
From that building, just behind the white building there that you see sort of in the foreground. We have seen this over and over again at these economic summits. I mean, going back to the WTO in Seattle back in 1999, when Seattle police fought running battles with protesters using tear gas, rubber bullets, flashbang grenades. We were there covering that as we were covering Bill Clinton, who was the president at the time. And I remember being out in the thick of it there with flashbang grenades going off all around us. And then it was Genoa for the G8 in 2001, where cars were being overturned and set on fire, and there were pitched battles between protesters and police as well. And we see the same thing here in Hamburg now in 2017. You see a collection of anti-globalist protesters, anti-capitalist protesters. I'm sure that there are groups of anarchists who always show up at these things as well. And at the same time, there's probably a group of middle-class families who would be out here, I would expect.
The Starcom Radio Network.
The Ed Tyll Show.
The Ed Tyll Show. Ed Tyll.
But Ed, you're not listening to me.
This is the Ed Tyll Show.
Well, Ed, I think Ed does a great job. I think Ed is one of the heroes of the media. I think he speaks to the needs of working class people.
Ed, I know you want to make a point.
The Ed Tyll Show.
Starcom Radio Network. Breaking news, the best music, the smartest, funniest talk. Starcom Radio Network.
Look, Ed, I take responsibility.
Starcom Radio News, breaking live.
That as well.
For us
You
to
have
ensure
take
stability and protect
a hydrofoil to get to it. But now they're
Radio
back in
Network.
big cities again. Here we see it in Hamburg. And
Radio
this is the
Network.
result.
Broadcast. Real characters. TrumpTalkRadio.com.
The Ed Tyll Show.
The Starcom
radio network.
Television, and it is going to make whatever point it is that they are trying to make.
It was all speculation. This guy's plane ticket was a waste of money in the news department. Did you hear that? Well, we suspect, and we had to fly you all the way over there to speculate. What did you find out? Where's your data? Where's your info? Where's the reporting, man? Well, we think. Well, it must be. We didn't fly you over there to make assumptions and presumptions. We got plenty of that here. Love it. And they go, well, our foreign correspondent is doing a great job. Really? Of finding out nothing. The guy couldn't even remember when the WTO protest took place in Seattle before. That's how poorly informed the reporter was. Yeah, nice. Nice going. Look, these clowns have been around forever. They hate capitalism, and this is why they come out. Doesn't matter who's president or what's going on. They hate hard work and reward, and they don't want to do it. And they're like, hey, if we can get enough people to not do it, then none of us will do it. You got that one wrong. The World Trade Organization is what they used to be called. The anarchists, right? WTO protesters. Yeah, these same people are at this G20 meeting today in Hamburg, Germany. Oh, another tie into the Beatles. Hamburg, Germany. One of the great breeding grounds of the Beatles in show business. Get it? Breeding ground Beatles. Bugs.
But it certainly sounds like that's a different sound than we have heard so far today.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Sounds. Could you get any reporting done at all? Is there anything in your notebook? All right. Let's check another network. Let's see if Anderson Cooper's people know anything about this. Because their day shift is pretty shaky. Go to the genius of Brooke Baldwin here.
With all these world leaders coalescing, Fred Pleiken is there. Fred, talking about water cannons.
What do you got, Fred? Fred, what do you got, buddy?
Well, they're tossing, it looks like they're throwing bottles. I mean, you can see there's a bottle flying right now. There were some of them that were actually also...
They're throwing bottles in Hamburg. Quick, get out the cameras. Quick, get that on the news. Bottles are flying. Give me a break, would you please?
You're lazy.
Starcom.
You just stay in bed.
Ed Tyll.
You're lazy. Just stay in bed. You don't want no money. You don't want no money.
Now again. So yeah, the past couple of minutes, certainly, there we go. Police seems to be trying to sort of clear that area. They've used these water cannon starts pretty extensively, especially over the last hour or so, and now it really seems as though things might...
So they're throwing bottles and they're using water cannons to repel. This is news? This is break-in in the middle of the day news. It's crazy. This is what people hate about the news. All right, who else is on the show? Big problem happened over the weekend already, and it's a problem all summer. Do not allow your kids to drown at the beach or the pool. Basic summer swimming safety with Carol Ann Carone coming up at 4 o'clock today. What When I was a kid, all kids, I think, you just want to jump in the water, and you'll figure it out when you get in there. Not so good with a riptide. Not so good if you don't have supervision and you start going down once, twice, 3 times is the big problem going under. You don't want to go under 3 times. You're looking for an adult to, quote, pluck you out of the water by then because they're watching you struggle. Every day in America, 10 people die from unintentional drowning as opposed to intentional drownings. I'm going to end it all, right? That's a hell of a suicide method. Wouldn't you say I'm going to drown myself? Wow. Anyway, 10 people unintentionally drowned. Carol Ann Carone. 10 rules you can teach your kids about summer swimming safety on the Ed Tyll Show, Starcom Radio Network. What are you doing? Where are you going? Where is it happening with you today? You got work? How many people have a regular work day? It's been a weird week, right? Who's in, who's not? Bosses are away. Clients are rescheduling. People are very optimistic, aren't they, before the holiday and the week following. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, things change when they come
anywhere, anytime. Listen to it all ad-free. All your music, no interruptions. YouTube Red. Start your free trial.
I guess they called it free back then, right? Now I think they call it commando, right? Eric Clapton. Cream. Should play some Cream for these angry people in Hamburg. Look out, a bottle. International news. Somebody threw a bottle. Oh no. International news, a water cannon. International news. That's it. It's either the North Koreans blowing up nuclear missiles on one hand, or it's a bottle being thrown in Hamburg, Germany. The media is like, there's got to be something to ruin Ed Till's day. We're going to make sure Ed Tyll has a bad day, a.k.a. Ordinary working class people. We got enough to do without you and your bottles and your water cannons.
I can walk down the street, there's no one there, though the pavement's a one huge crowd.
As Mike would say, fire hose to the face. What does that mean? All right, so anyway, Carol Ann Carone will keep your kids alive at the beach or at the pool this summer. 10 every day. 10 people die of unintentional drowning. I like how they put that in there. They don't go 10 people drown every day. They go 10 people drown from unintentional drowning. I got it. I like to be included in the stats.
I can walk down the street, there's no one there, though the pavement's a one huge crowd.
It seems that Ed Tyll has drowned at the Starcom recreational complex. Was it intentional or unintentional? I don't know. There's 15 empty cans of PBR right next to the tub. You tell me, Jim Morrison. Do you have delusions of grandeur? Really? Even when you're depressed, do you ever think depressed in delusions of grandeur? I want something bad to happen to myself, but I would like it to be celebrity style. Wow. You have got it bad all the way down to the end. Here we go. One more time. Can we see the water cannon?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so we're,
exactly.
I'd say we're about 50 yards away from that right now. There's some guys who set up barricades here. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see.
Oh yeah, you got a barricade or a raincoat? Yes, we have our raincoats on. What are you doing? We're fighting the water cannons. Quick, international news. break in on everything, stop everybody's workday, freeze public transportation, run to a screen to see a bottle and a water gun. Fire hose to the face at the G20 summit. Wow, somehow this will be blamed on Trump, won't it? Well, at some point today, somebody will say, and all of this because of Donald Trump. I hope so. I only wish.
People call him up, discussing everything. Love him or hate him, he's gonna have his...
All right, we got a big show today. We got a long show today. Coming up at 4:30 is beautiful, I think, a great topic. An amazing topic for us. Okay? A rocket scientist as our guest, Stephanie Osborne, returns to the show. Do you remember when we had our rocket scientist? This is like, there's a movie, right? Have you seen it? A lot of movies are made about NASA, but there's a movie out right now about the women who really helped NASA, but they have curvy women. And they were called Hidden Curves or something. And it's a movie made about real women. We actually have a rocket scientist who has worked with NASA and every international group in the world. Amazing rocket scientist back on the show. And today, she's not just here to talk about what she's done in the past. It's what's brand new. And I'll save the big surprise for you. But it's about the upcoming holiday season. And she's got a big surprise. Stephanie Osborne is great. She's smart, full of energy, loves talking to us. We love her, and she's back today. Oh, I can't wait. The new book is called The Interstellar, love that word, right? The Interstellar Woman of Mystery. Trump does that a lot. Tells you in the middle of a sentence that he likes a word. I don't know what's so unnerving for people about this. He must be mentally ill. This is the way people in my borough talk. He's not even from my borough. He's from a neighboring borough in Queens. I'm from the Bronx. People speak like that. They shorthand their thoughts, and they just get them out there. They don't always explain what they mean. That's on you. They're saying what needs to be said. The Interstellar Woman of Mystery, Stephanie Osborne, award-winning author, by the way. Incredible. She's written books that include Gentleman Aegis, a great book, and Displaced Detective, which has now become a series. And the new book is about the upcoming holiday season. Very excited. She's releasing the new book. What is today's date? We're like the 7th or 8th? 6th. Okay. The brand new book is out on July 11th on Amazon. You'll be able to order it today during her visit with us. So glad she's back. Stephanie Osborne on the Ed Tyll Show. Coming up at 4:30. Oh, my God. We have a busy show. The Beatles met today, as we said earlier. Very, by the way, great response to that. We'll replay it tonight. People tuned in the middle of the Beatles thing and go, what are you doing? We just tuned in. You're wrapping up. I go, relax. We'll play it again later. Yeah, it's a great day. John Lennon and the Quarrymen were playing at a gig, and John was getting all the lyrics wrong. And this kid named Paul rode up on his bicycle and said, I got to meet this guy. They started talking. He goes, hey, let me give you the real lyrics. Let me tune your guitar for you. And the rest, as they say, history. July the 6th, 1957. And 7 years later, they were the biggest thing on planet Earth. And as I said earlier, one of the great job creators, the Beatles. How many people went into the field of rock and roll? Performers, venues, technical people, guitar people, amplifier. I mean, the whole industry. Yeah, radio had something to do with it a little bit. Murray the K, bringing them out. But they hated touring because it wasn't nice like it is today. And even today, some people say, you know, it's tough. Let me tell you, it's a much easier situation today than it was when they were there. They were the first ones. They literally created stadium rock at Shea Stadium.
core, offensively oblivious, ever wanting for more, Mr. Tyll. Take full advantage of an imbecile, cut him off at will. Go ahead and shoot to kill.
Do you think that Chancellor Merkel will be able, that we know the meeting's over, but do you think she was able to sort of outmaneuver President Trump at all today, and how?
Oh, will you please save it for somebody who cares about that nonsense? Look, here's the bottom line, okay? Like it or not, this guy is elected, and we are the most powerful country in the world. That's a fact, Jack. Everything else that's bothering you is your own low self-esteem. The Ed Tyll Show, Starcom Radio Network.
Mr. Tyll, they may see you as unmerciful. I think
Once ISIS is moved out of the way.
Well, I think the strategy the president would be best at following is to get the actions that we need now to establish some semblance of order in that area.
Like what?
I, for one, can't tell whether Assad will stay or go, but we do have to have decisive dismantlement of ISIS. And so whatever action needs to be taken to truly do that, the president promised it. I think he's committed to doing it. And there are ways that could be worked with Russia to make that happen. How you sort out the peace or the lesser hostilities after that, that's something for the president and the president of Russia to work out later. We can't know what we're dealing with by options that way. But I think decisive action against ISIS and some sense of stability in Syria, stemming the flow of refugees, is absolutely vital in the immediate term.
The what's next, though, has been the Achilles heel of all of these different situations, and what makes Americans so wary of going into these various places, and perhaps why it has taken so long to get involved in Syria, because we have been burned when the person at the helm who is the most evil is deposed. They might be ISIS, but then you wonder what happens to Bashar al-Assad, and in the vacuum, he's just a puppet after all.
The Starcom Radio Network.
The Ed Tyll Show.
Please stop being so boring and stop, not making waves and creating problems between long-standing allies. Really, just, stop not doing that.
The Ed Tyll Show.
Starcom Radio Network, AM/FM stations all across America. Our first guest is standing by, or maybe sitting. make money, Grandpa. Grandma, we're taking you off of AOL. We're putting you on Google. You are going to make some money. I know you like that.
Starcom Radio Network.
The Ed Tyll Show.
The Ed Tyll Show. It's the Ed Tyll Show. Ed Tyll Show.
It's the Ed Tyll Show.
What?
Yes, Ed.
I'm Ed Tyll.
Hey, what's up, Ed?
Hey, man.
I listen to Ed Tyll.
What?
I listen to Ed Tyll.
I'm Ed Tyll.
Ed, my man, what's going on?
Hi.
This show is going to be different. This show is going to be different. This show is going to be about you. I say what I think. Yeah, we got a lot of people all over the country feeling the same way. Where do I get my piece of the action? All right, Spunk Burke has us hooked up. Stand by. Grandma, we are going to make you some cash today. Some green, baby. So you can go to Mohegan Sun, and blow it all. But that's all right. You'll have so much fun making it. You can go to Mohegan Sun all you want. Just make sure you bring your Uber thing on your phone, right? Because I don't want you driving.
Well, my daddy sent a message about the whiskers on my chin. Never had no problem, 'cause I've always paid the rent. I got no time for loving, 'cause my time is all you know. I spent a top in for the groovy kind of love. Come on. Oh, baby. Keep my image while I'm standing on the floor. If I drop up on my knees, because to keep on my nose. You think that I'm not human, and my heart is big as stone. But I never had no problem, and my body's pretty strong.
The Starcom Radio Network.
The Ed Tyll Show.
The Ed Tyll Show. Ed Tyll.
But Ed, you're not listening to me.
Characters. Real characters.
The Ed Tyll Show, Starcom Radio Network. Stand by. Spunk Burke is back. Up next.
Live from the deep recesses of the American psyche, where nerve endings explode into electrifying reality.
Help! Hurry! Help!
Exposing life for what it really is.
It's crazy. It's madness. I mean, people are getting ravished out there.
This is the Ed Tyll Show.
The Ed Tyll Show.
Come on, everybody, Ed Tyll, Ed Tyll. Come on, everybody, Ed Tyll. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody.
Spunk Burke is back on the show. Spunk, welcome back to Starcom Radio Network, the Ed Tyll Show. Always good to have you along.
Boy, it's good to be here. Thank you, Ed.
You got it. Listen, they're a little bit freaked out. Two reasons, right? First, they think, well, in general, things probably haven't changed that much. I should be able to do things the way I always have. I'm 55, I'm 60 years old by now. I shouldn't have to really be like the 25-year-olds. And the fact is you kind of do, right? The job market, the way the economy is structured, even if you've been a CEO, a CFO, or a chief operating officer, you have a lot to learn if you want to be earning in your late 50s, early 60s, right?
You're spot on. It's kind of a jolt to some people who have worked for 10 or 20 years for the same company and figure that they can go about looking for a job the way they did back in the 90s. And what they learn is that the hiring authority is sometimes 10, 20, 25 years younger than they are. And they certainly know a heck of a lot more about technology and social media and new age marketing. And so, yeah, it's a bit it's an anxious time for many of these executives, particularly in light of the fact you hear about this robust economy and low unemployment, but it really doesn't reflect the plight of the 55, 60-year-old top executive who's accustomed to making high six-figure incomes to get back in the trenches and say, all right, how am I going to find another job?
A couple of things jump out when you describe that. And the first thing is a lot of us, I don't know, you grew up in the 60s, 70s. You just think that the higher the salary you reach is a signal of your destination. And at some point in the economy, it actually became a negative. If you were making, as you say, high six figures, people would say, look, we can't afford that. Doesn't matter what this person does, we just can't afford that. So if you got caught in that, this is, kind of blows your mind a little bit that you're backtracking enormously in this area.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow.
It is, but you can beat it. You can beat it with the gigs, right? The gigs are the way around this, I think.
Well, that's right, because it's unlikely that they're going to find comparable pay in a similar situation, simply because, when you look back on it, Ed, we were overpaid back in the 90s, particularly by today's standards, when you can have a younger generation that's willing to do almost the same work for a fraction of what we were paid. So this business of holding out until I can get what I used to make, I understand it. I understand. It's if you're making $200,000 a year and you've been doing that for the last 6 or 7 years, you've got a lifestyle to support. You've got kids in college. You've got weddings. I mean, it's how am I going to get by without that money? Well, the answer to getting by and then some is to shift your focus from shift your focus from positions to looking for projects.
Yeah, bottom line is, look, in the reality of this world, you're not looking for a corner office in somebody's company. That's not what you really want your capital staked on. You're looking to be a problem solver for them and have the top guy or gal say, boy, we can really count on so-and-so. When we turn to them, they do great work, and you're a contractor.
That's right. They do great work, and when we're done with them, we release them.
Exactly.
No harm, no foul.
Right.
And so from an economic standpoint, from the buyer's point of view, it's a very attractive proposition. You're not so attractive as an employee, but as a contractor, this is terrific. I don't have to get involved with personality or chemistry or benefits. I just bring in this talent, use it at will, achieve results, and then dispose of when I'm done. It's acceptable, it's done, and it's the new way of doing business.
Spunk Burke is our guest. The book is The Gig Solution, How Boomers Can Earn Executive Fees Doing Project Work. It's available on Amazon and on the website gigexecs.com. I'm going to spell that for you. www.gigexecs, EXECS.com. Go to gigexecs.com. The book is The Gig Solution, How Boomers Can Earn Executive Fees Doing Project Work. Also available on Amazon. All right, let's go over a couple of basics here. You have CEOs, CFOs, COO types. What do they need to extract from their experience, put it up front in their toolbox to market themselves, to get these gigs? What's the approach to sorting out what you do best, how it will be problem solving on the spot, right? Effective, clean, efficient problem solving. How do you organize your toolbox as you get ready to have one of these meetings as a contractor now?
Well, I coach my clients to look at their background and see where their accomplishments are aligned with a CEO's objectives. And there's only 4 major objectives of any CEO in any industry. One is make money. The second one is save money. The third one is improve performance. And the fourth one is be compliant. If you've done something over the last 4 or 5 years that aligns to one of those objectives that you can point to and say, I'm an expert at that, you've got the basis for promoting a solution in the marketplace.
All right, let's go through a scenario, all right? Because I think this will be helpful to people, because I love what we're talking about, and I'll be the example, all right? Even though I have a full-time job.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right. Full-time job running the network, and I got my show. So I really can't use any of this amazing advice, but let's work through someone like me. Say, well, you could go to MSNBC, CNN, Fox, all 3 of the big political networks, and you could look at their product, get familiar with it, and then see where you could tweak them. This could be a better topic. This could be a better guest. The host should have covered this. In other words, there's going to be things you could solve for them right on the spot. So let's say...
Well, you're a quick study, Ed. And that's exactly how you go about doing it.
Right? I give them all my expertise, but I got to be familiar with them before I go to the meeting. If I'm really good, I should be able to anticipate what's bugging them a little bit. I should not that I'm going to know the details, but I should know that they're, the foreign correspondents really don't get it done, or we really don't do enough on blah, 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 blah. And then when they say it, I'm able, you know what I think? This is what I want listeners to understand, I think. You're tapping into the same exact mindset when you felt loyal to your company and your big boss and you are working on a thing. You're trying, you're sincerely brainstorming, but now you're doing it as a consultant, right?
That's right, as an independent consultant. And what you've got to do is become ambitious and energetic about researching. That the whole thing hinges on your ability to get as much intelligence as you can on the company and their situation. The more intelligence you have, the better you are to speak their language, to align to their problems, and really present a solution.
That's it. And really, that's what you are. You're a sharpshooter on a solution, and that's it. That's what gets you increased business. I think people need to know 2 things, right? Number 1, the successful business person that you do business with, they're going to tell somebody. Somebody, it may not be a competitor. I mean, they'll keep it in the safe zone, but they're going to say something about, wow, I got a hold of this guy, Spunk Burke from Ed Till, da-da-da-da-da, and you know what? And somebody's going to say, really? How'd you find them? What's the process? And before either you're going to get referral business or you're going to get reputation building, I think faster because with an employee, it was expected that you would do this, right?
Well, that's right. And remember that when you're going in there, you offer to develop a project plan about how you would go about executing the results your buyer wants. Now, that project plan, you authored it. It's your plan. So you're going to execute against that plan in a stellar fashion. And once you do that, word gets out. You know, for this particular situation, Spunk's the guy, the go-to guy. And basically, Spunk becomes the hired gun, just as you said. He's not a sharpshooter. He's a hired gun for this situation. And, of course, as you're out there, you're picking up other experiences. You're learning other stuff so that you can expand your offering. You still want it to be focused, but you can start expanding it to other companies so that you can maintain your billability.
Spunk Burke is our guest, and the book is called The Gig Solution, How Boomers Can Earn Executive Fees Doing Project Work. Available on Amazon and on the website gigexecs.com. That's GIGEXECS.com. All right, so that's on the getting prepared side. Now, talk a little bit about the matrix, and again, we'll use me as an example. People probably have heard about what I'm going to mention right now. There is a website called Fiverr, okay? And on the Fiverr website, you offer all kinds of products and services that are usually marketing related. Sales, etc. You can get somebody to write a pitch for you, to write items for you, do copy, design things for you. But the trick of this one is you have to have a $5 item. And we do here at Starcom. We have a $5 advertising item. So what we do is provide for customers the kind of a quick and effective and targeted advertising that used to come through an advertising agency. It's literally coming through a free website for the customer. For us, they take a piece of the action. So every deal we do on their website in the advertising and marketing department here, they get their cut. That's what we do. Now, for us, that serves our purpose. But we did get that through word of mouth. How should people in their field, where they've been a CEO, CFO, COO, where should they be looking for project work to be identified on the web where they can do this kind of expertise, task, gig work by connecting online?
Okay, I'll try to give you a quick rundown of that. It's laid out in my book, but the first thing that we have to do is we have to determine what it is we're going to offer the marketplace. And we discussed that at the top of the hour. What we want to do is also make sure that our LinkedIn profile plays to that, so that when someone's looking for that solution and they go to LinkedIn, your name comes up. But what I do is I coach my people to think about who else might have that problem that you solved a year ago. Who else in your industry might have that problem? And we come up with a list of 20 or 30 suspects. And our job is to do the research to narrow it down to 2 or 3 targeted prospects. And from there, it's a matter of going through a process of being able to speak directly to the individual who's got the pain.
Now, do you expect that these people are already shopping for a solution? Or do you hope to find them, while they're still kind of stuck on their dilemma? Like, in other words, if somebody comes to a Fiverr, right, they're already presenting that they have a need. How do you snuff these people, sniff them out, I should say, not snuff them out. We don't want to snuff anybody out.
It's part of the research. Let's say you've got 30 targets. Some of them have already solved the problem, so they come off the list.
Right.
Some are in the midst of solving it and have been challenged, or they haven't addressed it yet. And the reason they haven't addressed it is because they don't have the time or talent to deal with it. So they've got to prioritize it. When we're done with priority number one, we'll get to it. In the meantime, this problem persists and costs the company money. So that out of those 30 companies, if you run into one that's got the problem but hasn't figured out the solution yet, doesn't know where to turn for the solution, you've got a viable
You're in.
prospect.
You're in. What do you think of these gig websites, though? There are some that start out like at 25 and up. Then there are some that are, well, the gigs are like $5,000, $10,000, $12,000 a pop. So I know that they have yeah. What do you think about those?
You and I are talking about business professionals. We're not talking about the creative types that might go on Fiverr or Freelancer or what have you.
Oh, okay, good.
There's a number of sites. Okay, so when you're talking about business professionals, there's not a lot of sites that you can turn to that will pay you executive fees for the work that you propose to do.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I wrote the book. I wrote the book, Ed, so that people could be self-sufficient. They wouldn't have to rely on a recruiter or a headhunter or a job board to find gigs because they don't exist yet. They will, but they don't yet.
All right, so let's be realistic with people. A couple of years or a year and a half into this, if they are, for example, let's use a CFO type, all right, what could they hope to make? Yep. What kind of cash is really available in this marketplace if you get good at this?
Well, I profess that it's comparable to what you were making in your peak years. If you've done your homework and you are astute in terms of determining what it is in the marketplace that you can solve, where the demand is, where the return is, you can justify being paid what you were paid, including benefits, as a gig worker, as a contractor, the money you were made in your best years.
Spunk, it's great news. You are the best ambassador and evangelist for it. I have a vested interest in this because, it's happening to everybody in my crowd. I mean, my business personally.
Well, you've expressed your excitement about this since day one.
I have. I love this. I love it because I remember what we were all like when we were 25. Very excited about the newness of the experience. Then the expertise and the specialty come in. But there was just something exciting about it. I think this is really exciting right now. And the other thing is I love attributing excitement to guys like you and me in our 50s and 60s. I think that's good, too. We shouldn't be thought of as Ed and Spunk, they're slowing down now. Slowing down nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. That's what Reagan said. He was older than us, baby. All right, listen, I love having you on the show.
You haven't seen anything yet. And one of the things I wanted to share with your listeners, Ed, is that I've sort of morphed into an agent. In other words, not everyone is capable or interested in being self-sufficient and finding their own gigs. So what I've done is I've taken a block of time and I've said to qualified candidates, I will be your agent. I will work exclusively for you in terms of finding you a gig contract.
Wow.
Now, I can't work with everyone.
Right.
In fact, I could probably only work with 2 or 3 people a month.
Right.
But if they are of the right caliber and they have the star qualities that an agent needs to be able to present to the marketplace, I'm going to be working with them as their agent to find them gigs.
Wow. It is. It's a passion. It's an exciting area for a couple of reasons. It's got this human dynamic, and let's face it, it's about making money. The idea of what we used to make in our age bracket, I keep talking about us generationally here, but the change was so sudden, and you're inclined to think, well, it's not going to be like that anymore. Oh, it's like that. You got to get in the new game. Spunk Burke, always a pleasure, my friend. The Gig Solution, how boomers can earn executive fees doing project work, available on Amazon, and his website is gigexecs.com. And as you just heard, if you're saying to yourself, wow, I belong in doing all of this, but I would really need someone to help me, then you can reach out to Spunk Burke. Can they reach you on gigexecs.com?
Yes, they can.
Perfect.
And,
Perfect.
again, I can't work with everybody, obviously, but
right.
I'm happy to entertain the prospects of picking and choosing who we decide to partner up with.
Oh, man, you're a stud. All right, listen, I love having you on. You know, you're great for after a few days off. We had a long holiday weekend, and everybody comes back, and they got two things on their mind. Oh, boy, how do I get back on vacation? How do I avoid work? What am I doing in this job?
Yeah.
All that, and push all that negativity aside. There's a horizon out there, baby. It's a green one, earning real money, profiting from your genuine expertise in a new style marketplace. It's the gig solution. Spunk Burke, you're the best. Thank you for being on the show today. We'll have you back soon. You're great to have back on all the time because people are finding themselves in the situation that you describe in the book. Thank you, Spunk. Take care, buddy. Spunk Burke, he's awesome. Love having him on. Go to gigexecs.com. GIGEXECS.com. The book is The Gig Solution. You heard about it here on the Ed Tyll Show. Our next guest is Stacy Hankey, talking about people who sabotage themselves without even knowing it. Yeah, that's a bad one. It's bad to be sabotaging of yourself. Self-sabotage is terrible, but it's worse to not know it. At least if you know it, you can do something about it, but if you don't know it, you're screwed. All right, she'll be along in a moment. Stacy Hanky. Hanky? Anyway, we're going to straighten you out, baby.
Grew up working class in a place they call the Bronx. Learned on the corner about the school of hard knocks. Found out his rap could be his salvation. Well, now he's talking all across the nation. It's the Ed Tyll Show. It's the Ed Tyll Show. Come on, everybody. It's Ed Tyll. Now that you tuned him in, you know what I mean. People call him up, discussing every scene. Love him or hate him, he's gonna have his say. He's gonna speak his mind each and every day. It's the Ed Tyll Show. It's the Ed Tyll Show. Come on, everybody. It's Ed Tyll.
It's the Ed Tyll Show. Ed Tyll Show. Ed Tyll Show. It's the Ed Tyll Show.
Ed Tyll Show.
Ed Tyll Show.
Ed Tyll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, continuing the big international broadcast.
Now, more Ed Tyll. Live from the deep recesses of the American psyche, where nerve endings explode into electrifying reality.
Help! Hurry! Help!
Exposing life for what it really is.
It's crazy. It's madness. I mean, people are getting ravished out there.
This is the Ed Tyll Show.
The Ed Tyll Show.
Come on, everybody, Ed Tyll, Ed Tyll. Come on, everybody, Ed Tyll. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody.
Come on, everybody, it's you. Come on, everybody, it's you. You may not like what he has to say, but he's gonna say it anyway. He said, chill. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody, it's you. It's you. He's the baddest cat around, got the sharpest tongue in this whole damn town. It's you. It's you. All the news and storylines to all the main events. He's a voice in the wilderness that doesn't make any sense. He's a Tyll. Just a voice on the radio, sending out the truth to those who don't know. If you can't see your world out there, you better watch out. And Tyll will strip you bare. He's a Tyll. Strip you bare.
This is the Ed Tyll Show.
May not like what he has to say, but he's gonna
The man is gonna strip you bare. Here's it, Tyll. Say it, Tyll. It, Tyll. You may not like what he has to say. He's gonna say it anyway. Say it, Tyll. It, Tyll.
Mr. Tyll, do you think it's all just overkill? Do you think that we should chill? Dear Mr. Tyll, Mr. Tyll, really no reason to come down on you. Surely a little bit of gratitude is overdue. Go ahead and make them furious. Tell them where to go. They're only blindly curious. To the hell down below, Mr. Tyll. We want the glory, but we lack the will.
Stacey Hanke is our guest on the Ed Tyll Show, Starcom Radio Network, AM/FM stations all across America. Business leaders are sabotaging themselves, and they don't even know it. How to become more powerful. Stacey Hanke will show us some of the valuable tools that you need to make positive changes in your communication in order to be more influential. I bet you have some of these distracting communication habits like quirks, over-gesturing, odd facial expressions. They are undermining your wisdom and kind of diminishing your impact.
Have we become so hideous, rotten to the core, offensively oblivious?
All right, we're going to talk about some of the signs that you are not as influential as you think, especially if you recall the barbecue this 4th of July weekend past. Did you get the feeling no one was paying any attention or giving any credence to you? All right, we'll find out what you're doing wrong. Stacey Hanke is our guest, the Ed Tyll Show, Starcom Radio Network. Hey, Stacey, how are you today? Stacey? All right, we'll reconnect with Stacey.
So pissed off and irritated right now at this whole freaking subject that I can't even stand.
No phenomenon in recent times has so intimidated the establishment press.
Think for yourself and question authority.
We're American and damn proud of it.
Button your lips, no talking. No talking. No talking.
Question authority.
Come on, everybody.
Today we're going to try and say his name.
Come on, everybody.
Did he say a letter in his name?
Come on, everybody. Ed Tyll, Ed Tyll.
Question authority.